welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be testing out those acrylic paints that I bought from The Works. I tested them out on a swatch in one of my haul videos, so if you haven't seen that one I will add that in the description box below. I have decided to paint Ursula for this painting because I think she's one of the best Disney villains. I just love her sass. I think she's so much fun, and I think it's really important that you don't underestimate the power of body language. So we're going to get straight into this painting and then I will let you know my thoughts on the actual paints. If you are new to my channel, my name is Gemma. I create weekly art content, so make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of my videos. Okay, let's go into the painting. These acrylic paints again. So I'm just going to get out the colours that I actually want. So to get started with, I think I'm going to just paint a little bit of the background and then I will get started with painting Ursula. I'm going to use one of those flat brushes again because I quite like those the last time I used them. The canvas I'm using is a really old canvas that I had laying around, so I haven't gone out and bought anything new for this. I'm just using what I have, and then I'm also using those cheap acrylic paints that I had purchased from The Works. I don't actually even know where I got this canvas from, but it has got a slight defect in it, so hopefully that won't really affect my drawing or my painting today. I'm going to mix a little bit of a darker blue and a lighter blue so I can blend those in a little bit more. So as this set doesn't come with a purple, I'm going to be mixing my own. So I'm just going to mix some of the red with one of the blues, and then I'm going to lighten it with a white because Ursula's skin is a really light purple. I want to make sure I get plenty of this mixed as well because there's quite a large surface area to cover in this lilac-y colour. It's going to block it all in, and then I'll build up all of the darker tones afterwards. I'll blend those in, but I just want to get this blocked in as the main colour for now. Okay, I think that's more of the colour that I was looking for on her skin. Then add in all of those different tones. Now, I think that Ursula is one of the sassiest of all of the Disney villains. Let me know in the comments who your favourite Disney villain is. I have to say that Ursula is definitely one of mine. Okay, I'm now going to make a start on her body. So I'm going to try and get those sort of blue highlights that I can see across some of the body there. So I'm going to be mixing some blues and some blacks together to try and get that in. And I'm just going to block those in first of all before I then refine it. Overall, I'm not finding this paint too bad. In terms of quality, you know, the paints are actually quite nice. I do see that they lift a little bit with the water. In terms of light fastness, that's something I'll have to look into for you guys to see if they are actually going to last. I'm going to block in some of the black as well, but this will actually need lightening in quite a few sections because it's not quite as dark as this. Now, it doesn't matter if I go into my blue with this because actually there's quite a bit of that blue tone within the black. And the good thing about acrylics is that if you make a mistake, you can always wait until it's dry and then you can paint over it. I think that when you're at this stage in a painting, it can make you feel a little bit bad about how it's going because it's just at that point where there's no sort of definition between those two blocked in colours. So it looks really flat at the moment, but once we add in some additional shading to it, it's going to look so much better. So I've made up a really light sort of grey blue colour that I'm going to add in, and this is going to be my mid-tones on Ursula's body. That paint's a little bit dry at the moment, so I'm just going to add a bit of water to loosen that up a bit and make it a bit easier to paint across my canvas. That's better. So I want to try and blend that into my black, so it starts to look a little bit more like a 3D form rather than just a black blob. I'm going to blend that actually on my canvas. So I'm now going to blend into that lighter colour with a bit of black. I'm going to make a start on the facial features. So I'm going to start by filling in those lips. I can see in my reference photo that the lips have got quite a bit of tonal value to them. So we've got a really dark red, and then also we've got quite a light red in there as well. Okay, so I'm going to use that as my darker colour for the lips. I'm going to use the smallest brush that comes with this pack, get in those details for the facial features. Okay, that is a really dark red that I've mixed there. I love the scene in The Little Mermaid where Ursula puts on her lipstick. Now I need to work on the tentacles and get those sort of suckers painted in, and then I think I can work on this part of the background. I'm quite pleased with how it's going so far. I think that I will have to get in some of the details with a pen because I just don't have a fine enough paintbrush. So I'm going to crack on and try and get this finished because it is rather cold in my garage. I just want to add a bit of a darker purple in there and blend that in a little bit neater. I'm going to add a small amount of blue back into that purple to darken it. So again, I'm not using a black because that will make my colours look a bit more muddy. If you have been enjoying my video so far, make sure you subscribe to my channel because I do upload each week. This week I have been trying to get a few more videos out because I've been on half term. I'm just going to get a base colour down for these tentacles first off. So I'm just using the lightest colour that I mixed, and then I'm going to add in a darker tone within those suckers because that way it will give us a little bit more definition and make it look a little bit more realistic. If we've got a dark tone in there as well, so it'll look like there's a bit of depth to those suckers on the tentacles. And then obviously each one will also need a shadow to show that it is raised from the tentacle. I'm just going to add some of this brownie colour as a base. I'm just going to put this on with a palette knife because that'll be nice and quick, and then I will refine it with paintbrush. One of the things that I see my students do a lot is actually use the paint straight from the tube, so not actually mixing them or watering them down. When you have a slightly watered down acrylic paint, you do have more control over it, and I find that it just applies a lot nicer. So I have watered down my black paint here and it just glides over really nicely. I'm going to try using some of my pens to go over the details that I think will be too difficult to get with a paintbrush. So I have got these double-ended pens that I'm going to use. Start with this colour which is called Barley, and I'm going to go over and just see how it works. If it doesn't, then I will go back to the drawing board. Okay, last thing on my painting is to tidy up the edges, so a couple of little bits around here, and then paint the edges of the canvas. Now, a lot of people tend to forget the edges of the canvas, and you could end up with a really mucky looking canvas on those edges. So I'm going to tidy those up, and I'm also going to fill in any little gaps that need a little bit of extra paint. No, my pen is bleeding, so it's bleeding into the hair. I need to try and fix that. I'll use a smaller paintbrush with some black instead of a pen. Okay, this is the very smallest paintbrush that I have, so I just hope that I'm going to be able to use it okay for those eyelashes. So there you have it, that was my Ursula painting and using those cheap acrylic paints. Now, I have really enjoyed doing this painting. I think that those paints worked quite well. I think for a product that is really cheap, they work really quite nicely. The formula itself works really nicely. I haven't used up all of the paints yet, so I think that they actually go quite far. Considering I have created a painting on a canvas and I've also painted the edges of the canvas, the paints actually lasted really well. Now, in terms of light fastness, on the packaging it has no mention whatsoever on the light fastness of those products. So if you're looking for paints that you would like to last a long time once you have used them, maybe these are not the paints for you, because it does not say on the packaging whether or not they are long lasting. If I were you, I would use these to practice with, because I think that they are quite a good product. I think you could get some really good results with them. However, if you're wanting to sell your work or give it away as a gift and you want it to have that longevity to it, I would purchase a different product which has got a good light fast value to it. Now, you could use the Daler Rowney acrylic paints instead, and they have got a light fastness value to them, and they are a really good beginner paint to use. So the System 3 paints would be a good product to use instead of these ones. I hope that you have enjoyed today's video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of my final painting, and also let me know what your favourite Disney villain is. Also, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on next week's video. I will see you next week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!